In this video, we will take a look at the field mappings between monitoring objects and customers' vendor contacts. And I will open up this list of field mappings from my setup menu, but you can of course search for monitoring object field mappings using the tell me function. And this will open a list of field mappings. You see this first, these lines is when we link to customer, these are when we link to vendor, and then we have the contact. And these are the default field mappings: the name, address, postcode, city, phone number, country code, VAT registration number, and registration number. This controls how we get data from field number 2 on the monitoring object, which is the name, and we put it into field number 2 on the customer, which is the name. And postcode is field number 4 on the monitoring object. That is field number 901 on the customer. And these fields that we have here by default, these can be processed automatically when we get new data from CreditSafe. And I say that they can be because these fields depends on how we set up the data source. So we go to the data sources, look at, in this case, the global data source, the customer vendor integration setup. So this is where we, per country, if we want to, per object type, and to which table we link, can decide if we want to have automatic updates of VAT registration number, name, address, postcode, city, country code, phone number. So those fields are controlled by these settings here. And the relation between those fields on the customer card and the monitoring object card is defined by this mapping table. But we can, of course, change these. I don't see the reason for it, but we can also add new. So let's say that I want to get some data from the monitoring object, from a field on the monitoring object. It can be any field number on the monitoring object. I think the usual suspect should be the custom data fields, but I won't go into those details in this video, so I will use something simpler, like the ranking code. So I want to use ranking code on the monitoring object. I want to put that on some field on in the customer table. Probably I would have like a customized field on the customer card for the ranking code if I want to have it like physically stored in the customer table and not just available in the fact box on the customer card. But I don't have that now, so let's just use some existing. Let's use the fax number. This is just for a demo purpose. So we will put the ranking code, the ABCDE code, into the fax number on the customer. And if I insert new field mappings that are not linking to name, address, these fields that are controlled in the customer vendor integration setup that we looked at previously, well, this mapping here will always be processed. So let's go ahead and see what happens. I go to the monitoring objects and let's just pick some random monitoring object that is fetched from the global data source, which has a customer number. If I open up the customer card, scroll down to the fax number is empty on this customer card. So let's just, I can do it from here. Fetch some new data. And close that one. And we got the ranking into the fax number. So that's the basics of the monitoring object field mappings. I will just go ahead and delete that one because I don't want to have ranking in my fax number field. So, and we have also a setting to the right if we want to trigger the onValidate trigger when we update the data on the customer vendor or contact. And there will be a separate video on the custom data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields also, how you can use those. Okay, thank you.